Six Nations Team of the Week, folks, for the final round of the competition. It's kind of a bittersweet time because we get to celebrate, Ireland winning the Six Nations, Italy not getting the wooden spoon, Gatland's offer of resignation being rejected, England and France having a real ding-dong battle, and Scotland actually pushing it down to the last few minutes. But that's it. The competition is over. Let's go through 15 players from this final round. And you guys can let us know your thoughts. At some point in the coming days, we'll have to have a look at a team of the tournament as well. But I want to spend a bit more time having a look at that one before we chuck anything out. So, 15 guys. Let's get started. Loose head prop. Certainly not the first time he's been on my whiteboard this Six Nations campaign. Andrew Porter gets himself a try, which is also always a pleasing one. When you see props get on the board, nice tap move from Kelleher, pop ball to Porter and he goes over. 15 carries is insane. What kind of prop has 15 carries? I guess a prop on a team which has like 65-70% of the ball. But yeah, really looking for work. Just the 7 meters because a lot of the time the Scottish defence wasn't going anywhere, but really high work rate. 5 passes, makes 5 from 5 tackles, concedes just the 1 penalty, which for a prop is about right. If you can concede just the 1 or none, it's pretty good outing. When you're conceding 2 or 3, usually not so great. But Andrew Porter on one side, and the guy who the Six Nations series kind of had him up against is a big old rival, Winnie Antonio. Big shift from him, as well as part of that big French pack. He also has 7 meters, albeit from about half the carries with just the 7 from him. So 1 meter per carry. That's all right, but that's about normal. Most props don't make 15 carries. 7's about right. That's actually probably on the high side. 7 from 7 tackles as well. He likes the number 7. 7 meters, 7 runs, 7 tackles. He does concede 2 penalties. One of them, I think, directly cost his team 3 points at scrum time, but he also won a turnover where he kind of stripped Itoje from the ball. So, yeah, overall, I thought his impact and his work rate was pretty good as part of that big French pack. Hooker, I've gone with an Irishman, Dan Sheehan. I don't know if it was his best game ever. Like, he certainly dropped a couple of balls. The line-out was looking like a little bit ropey at times, but it still finished at 86%. Which is decent, it's a passable number. You'd like to be 90 plus, but it's all right. He scores a try, like really quick thinking to pounce on that loose Scottish line-out ball, and given the final score, how key was that move? So fantastic from him. 10 runs, 45 meters. It's almost like, I remember looking at stats for Antoine Dupont, and I'm not saying Dan Sheehan's Antoine Dupont, but you know what I mean in that, like, Dupont would have crazy, stupid stats, and you'd be like, it's just normal for him. Like, most hookers don't get 45 meters, but for Dan Sheehan, it's entirely unsurprising. 0% surprising, because he always gets heaps of meters. So we kind of have to remember that that's not normal. It may be normal for Dan Sheehan, but he's not a normal character. So 45 meters, 10 runs, a clean break, 2 defenders beaten. He has just the 1 pass, but he wins a turnover, makes 3 of his 3 tackles. Like I said, he's got 3 turnovers conceded. So that's a little bit of a kind of error in his performance, but overall, very much a positive impact. No penalties conceded. Dan Sheehan doing Dan Sheehan things. Locks, I ended up going with one of the Italian guys, and Federico Ruzza. You guys know he's one of my favorites, and I think for pretty good reason. He won 12 lineouts this week, which, if I'm not mistaken, is double the next best player. So he is absolutely key at securing that Italian lineout ball. He also has 7 runs for 15 meters, which, in terms of the amount of carries you have and the amount of meters you get for a lock, is very good. He's a very mobile and aggressive kind of ball carrying lock. He beats a couple of defenders. A lot of locks are like 1 meter, 1 carry, because they're big guys. It's hard for them to get low. They get chopped down, but not Rutzer. He tends to do a bit better than most. 11 passes as well. Loves getting his hands on the ball. 11 from 13 tackles. No penalties conceded. Does have a couple of turnovers conceded, so not perfect, but I think pretty impactful. Came close to getting a try as well. Another lock I've gone for is one of the Scottish locks in Scott Cummings. He's got 1 run for no meters, so that's kind of puts Rutz's performance into context. But remember, the Scots just had no ball. So when they did have ball, they weren't giving it to bloody Scott Cummins. He's got 2 passes, but defensive shift. 25 out of 26 tackles, including a couple of dominant tackles. Wins a couple of lineouts on that defensive line of his own. Only concedes the 1 penalty. So, yeah, big work rate, much needed. Without the shifts of guys like him, and not just him, Scotland certainly conceded a lot more points. I feel like most teams conceded more points than the Scots did in that game against the Irish. Loose forwards was tough because I think especially the blind side was one tough area. The guy who wears the number 6 jersey for France, Francois Ross, continues to be maybe the standout loose forward of that French back row this campaign. And he's got Aldrit and Olivon in there. So it's a really, really talented back row. But Francois Ross just stands out, man. He gets 3 runs for 27 metres, which includes a clean break and defender beaten, which is not what we, prior to this campaign, not what we usually expect from Ross, because he's mainly tackle. You leave all the carrying to Aldrit, you leave all the fancy stuff to Olivon. But nah, man, he's there doing it. He also gets a line-out steal, which directly leads to a French try. So good to see him up in the air. He wins 3 line-outs on French ball too. He is France's top tackler, along with all that kind of other stuff as well, with 8 from 9. He's got 4 passes, doesn't concede any penalties. So yeah, really sharp performance from him in the back row. And who is potentially becoming my favorite Italian player, Michele Lamaro. Is there a week where he is not Italy's top tackler? Well, it ain't this week. 21 from 22. Italy made a lot of tackles in that second half. He's leading from the front. How many times do I need to repeat myself? I don't know, but it must be great having a leader who just sets the example, sets that bar really high. He also wins 3 turnovers, which is not an area he's been like top of the log for. That's been more like Tommy Reffel and whatnot, but 3 turnovers in this game, including one where he, pounces on George North, wins a penalty, directly gives his team 3 points. So fantastic from him. Also busy with the ball carry, 7 runs, 20 meters, beats a couple of defenders, 6 passes, only concedes the 1 penalty. So yeah, really, really busy shift from the Italian captain. And another guy who I have been putting on the whiteboard a heap of times is Ben Earl. My goodness, he just continues to impress every single game. What did Ben Earl do this week? Well, he had a try assist. He sets up the Marcus Smith try when he just basically makes Ramos a bit of a revolving door when he runs directly at him from a line-out move. He's got 4 passes, including the try assist. He carries 11 times for 38 metres, which for a loose forward, it's a pretty good return. He's not too far under the vaunted kind of 4 metres a carry. He beats 4 defenders. He has a clean break. And he's also England's number 1 tackler with 19 from 20. He also wins a turnover. Now, he does concede 1 penalty, which was costly because no arms tackle means France kicked 3 points. But overall, massive positive input for England in that game from Ben Earl. I'll go to some honourable mentions at the end, but that is the forward pack. Backs, I'm going to go with the Irishman and Jamison Gibson Park. I think he got man of the match. 100 plus passes shows you how much ball the Irish had. He finishes with 104. Just, what did they called him like the sparkle or something like that in my commentary that I had, because he is that guy who just keeps the ball moving so quickly. He's part of the reason Ireland is such a hard team to defend against, because you can't even get back and set the line before the ball's already got out to the next player. So teams get disjointed trying to stop that relentless attack. 5 runs for 14 metres, makes 6 from 7 tackles, and no turnovers conceded in a game where you have 104 passes is insane. No penalties conceded either. So yeah, great effort from him. And one of the English guys, I think George Ford, ran the show pretty well for England, which was pretty close to a win, but just not quite. 4 conversions, a penalty, and 11 points for him off the boot. So certainly his boot, well, he had his kicking boots on this week, didn't he, compared to last week where he was a little bit off. He just has the 1 run for 13 metres, but he has 16 passes, including that confident little tip pass for the Freeman try, which was proper skills. Makes 6 from 6 tackles, no turnovers conceded, no penalties conceded. drove the English pack forward pretty well, I thought. Did forward. Forward was going forward. That's happy days. Midfielders, I've gone with another one of the Irish fellas in Bundy Aki. Now, the midfield was also really, really competitive, kind of like the back row. You could have picked many of the midfielders and been still pretty happy. Bundy Aki, man, 13 runs, 53 meters. He's always right up there. 2 clean breaks, 2 defenders beaten. He's still not slowing down, as he 6 passes. Also, one of the top tacklers with 9 from 10. Doesn't concede any turnovers. Doesn't concede any penalties. Basically, always getting forward or chopping guys down. Yeah, really, really pleasing from Bundy. He is still in the form of his life. Him and Ben Earl have just been going gangbusters for, 12 months, 18 months. It's been really, really pleasing. And one of the kind of guys who's recently getting a lot of recognition gets man of the match. Nacho Bricks for the Italians in the midfield. Again, you could have gone with a bunch of different 13s. But Nacho Bricks, really impressive for Italy. Like 9 passes is more than most 13s get in a game. 13s don't usually get that much ball. And if you combine that with 8 runs as well, it means he's really a linchpin in that Italian attack. 18 meters, beats a defender. And just high energy, shooting up all the damn time on defense. Like there's one where he shoots up, I forget who he tackles, but like Garbisi just gets straight over the ball and wins a penalty, which directly leads to 3 points for the Italians. So it's Bricks with the high energy to make the initial tackle, which allows Garbisi to get over the ball. So great from him. No penalties conceded. He does miss a few tackles. He's 12 from 16 in the end. But when you're shooting up like that, it's maybe not surprising. He doesn't quite have the pace to chase down Grady for the last try that Wales scored. But overall, I thought massive positive impact from him. And then the outside backs, I've gone with one of the Italian guys again, Monty Ioane. He's been a little bit kind of, and it's maybe not just recently, but throughout his career, like a heap of positive stuff, but there'll be some calamitous stuff every game. But I don't think we really had that from him in this game, did we? He was a lot more, he missed a couple of tackles. But he didn't have that, I don't think he had that one kind of crazy pass where you're banging your head at the TV going, what are you doing? You don't bang your head on the TV, that'd be bad. You maybe bang your head on a desk. Try not to bang your heads, but a try for him, which was a bit of a doddle, to be fair. The work had already been done by the time he got the ball, but he's in the right place at the right time. Also sets up a try for Lorenzo Pani with the kind of initial line break and gives the ball at the right time to allow Pani to go over. So yeah, try and assist is a pretty good day at the office. He's got 58 meters. He's got 7 runs in which he beats 4 defenders and has 4 clean breaks. I forget how many clean breaks Italy had, but I'm pretty sure it was less than 10. So for the fact that Ioane gets 4 of them, shows his contribution. 6 passes, a couple of offloads, no penalties conceded, no turnovers conceded. 2 from 5 tackles is the one area that you look at and go, it could be a bit better. But yeah, really, really positive contribution from him. A Frenchman on the right wing, Damien Penaud, did drop a little bit of ball, maybe more than he would like. Like one of them was that one with the English guy, I forget who it was it Chesham? Kind of half charged kick down. So it was fair play that Penaud could just go for it and what otherwise would have been in front of the kicker position, but he just couldn't quite handle it. Like that's one of the turnovers considered that gets registered against them, but it was worth going for. But he still finishes with a try assist where he's chasing hard that Ramos kind of hack through, which sets up Fiku. So good for him to be chasing hard the entire game because you never know when those opportunities are going to pop up. He has 7 passes, 3 offloads. He has 9 carries and 10 defenders beaten. Anytime your defenders beaten outweighs the amount of carries you had is just nuts. That doesn't usually happen. 68 meters, 3 clean breaks, 5 from 6 tackles. Yeah, positive impact from him. And then the fullback, another Frenchman in Leo Barret. We weren't sure if he was going to get much game time in the Six Nations campaign, but it has happened with the injury to Jalibert and the changing of position for Ramos. So Leo Barret, he also gets a try, which is also a bit of a walk-in, kind of like Ioane's one. But he also sets up the Le Garec try where it's that cross line-out steal, spun wide ball, Fiku to Barret, who kind of dummies, carries hard, and then gets it to Le Garec just at the right time. So thing of beauty stuff. 11 runs, 94 meters, many of which would have been the line break from that line-out steal, like I say. A clean break, which is that movement. Beats 7 defenders, has 4 passes, 3 offloads, which is a pretty high offloading rate. 4 from 6 tackles, a couple of turnovers conceded, but overall big time positive contributions from the young French fullback. Honourable mentions, Fischetti was big at scrum time for the Italians, which is really pleasing to see. Tommy Reffel was continuing to win turnovers and make tackles. Peter Omani, I think, was joint top tackler for Ireland, so we'll see what he decides to do with his future, but if that was his last game, he put in a big old shift. Jack Dempsey was also really busy for the Scots. Caelan Doris was called quiet by the commentators, but still had more run meters than most of the other loose forwards combined, I believe. Will Rowlands also came off the bench pretty well for the Welsh and had a good impact. Backs-wise, Thomas Williams was maybe the best of the Welsh players, and what was a disappointing outing for them. Ligarak as well continues to impress at test level. Ramos with that clutch kick to win the game was pretty bloody impressive as well. Garbisi likewise took his points well for the Italians, ran the show. Lawrence got a couple of tries for England. Fiku also, I think he might have missed one tackle for a try, but also, good attacking presence for the French. Stafford McDowell was really impressive in his first start. Was it his first start ever? First start in a while. If it's not, for the Scots, Menincello also continues to have his fantastic campaign at number 12 for the Italians. Tommy Freeman did well for England on that right wing. James Lowe did well on the left wing for Ireland. Dyer also pretty sharp for Wales, certainly sharper than Adams on the other wing. Marcus Smith called upon earlier than expected for England, did well. Mason Grady did well from the bench. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of him starting, but we could go on and on and on and on. Those are some honourable mentions for the round. That was the final one. You guys let us know your thoughts. Cheers for coming along this Six Nations, folks. It has been a privilege and an honour to talk to you guys and chat with you in the comments and to get your opinions and ideas. It's been kind of awful getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but for the most part, the rugby's been worth it, which is good. There's not many times where I remember getting up at 3:15 and just immediately wanting to go back to bed. Most of the games have been, pretty good quality, which has been pleasing. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. Buy me a coffee or a beer down in the description if you want. Check out my other channel, 2 Cents on Tour, which involves a lot less whiteboard, a lot less rugby, but it's got me in it talking to people and wandering around, if that interests you. But yes, you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.